I always believed the heavy deadbolts on my front door were enough to keep my toxic parents out of my life. But I was terrifyingly wrong. It was a cold Thursday evening when I pulled into my driveway and spotted their dark sedan idling by the curb. They did not wave or step out of the vehicle. Instead, they simply stared at me before driving away, leaving a beautifully wrapped package on my doorstep. Attached to the ribbon was a small white card with 4 words written in the unmistakable elegant cursive of my mother. It commanded me to not make a scene. A normal person might have left the box untouched. But that familiar chilling warning felt like a direct order from my traumatic childhood. Inside the entryway, I sliced the ribbon open and immediately froze in absolute horror. The very first item inside was a recent photograph of my 8-year-old son sleeping peacefully in his own bed. Right next to it lay a shiny duplicate key to my house and a thick envelope from a family law attorney. My legs began to tremble violently as I dialed emergency services. Within minutes, 2 police officers arrived just as my husband Garrett walked through the front door. Garrett stopped dead in his tracks, turning completely pale as he looked at the uniforms and the open container. He whispered a plea that he hoped they did not actually go through with it. His sudden terror frightened me more than the picture because it meant he possessed a dark secret. Both officers turned toward him as Garrett pointed to the thick legal envelope resting on the table. My husband confessed that 3 weeks prior, my father Donald had approached him outside his workplace with a chilling request. Donald had casually asked him to sign an emergency guardianship document, claiming it was just a precaution if we were hospitalized. Garrett had aggressively refused the offer, but he kept the terrifying encounter from me to protect me from the painful wounds of my past. The older officer, whose name was Officer Miller, put on latex gloves and began sorting through the legal papers. Beneath the envelope, he discovered a digital recording device, a flash drive, and a stuffed bear that belonged to my son Leo. The toy had vanished months ago during our last visit to my parents, and it still carried the heavy floral perfume of my mother Evelyn. That scent triggered an overwhelming wave of anxiety, reminding me of how Evelyn used to listen through my bedroom door when I was a teenager. Officer Miller then pulled out 6 surveillance photographs that completely shattered our sense of safety. One image showed Leo eating breakfast in our kitchen, while another captured him through a chain-link fence at his elementary school over a 2-month period. Officer Miller immediately realized this was not a simple family squabble and called for an evidence technician. He asked if my parents ever had access to our keys. I remembered that Donald had helped us replace a broken back door lock the previous summer. We had changed the front locks after cutting ties with them, but we completely forgot about the rear entrance. The legal envelope contained a devastating draft petition designed to strip us of custody by claiming I was an unstable mother. It contained entirely fabricated statements from a therapist I had never met, alongside a forged signature that Garrett verified was absolutely not his own handwriting. Garrett remembered finding an identical recording device hidden under the seat of our car weeks ago, which he had foolishly dismissed as a lost item from a coworker. Officer Miller and his partner began a protective sweep of our home to check for surveillance. They quickly discovered a microscopic camera hidden inside a smoke detector and another transmitter fitted behind a hallway ventilation grate. The hidden camera stored footage locally on a memory card, meaning someone had regularly entered our home to retrieve the data. The reality of the situation made the air feel incredibly heavy as I packed a few bags for our family. We decided to stay with the sister of Garrett across the bay, hiding the terrifying truth from Leo by claiming we had a plumbing emergency. Before we departed, the evidence technician emerged from the hallway holding a final piece of evidence. It was an old memory card labeled with my name and the exact date from 6 years ago when Leo was born. That night, I sat awake on the guest bed, realizing that the cryptic warning on the box was not a plea for peace, but a command to remain silent. The next morning, Detective Clara Boyd took over our case at the station and revealed the horrifying contents of that secret memory card. It contained a massive 6-year digital archive tracking our entire lives, including our private tax returns and financial documents. There was even a secret recording of me in the hospital right after giving birth, where Evelyn tried to force me into legal agreements. The archive contained detailed logs of completely ordinary events that my parents had twisted into malicious accusations of neglect. A canceled dentist appointment was labeled as medical abandonment, and a single glass of wine at a holiday dinner was marked as a severe substance issue. They were not trying to protect my son. They were actively manufacturing a legal case to steal him away. Our family attorney, Brooke Hayes, discovered that the therapist on the document was fake and the notary stamp had been reported stolen months ago. Detective Boyd then called with a massive breakthrough regarding the serial number on the hidden camera. The buyer was identified as Harlan Vance, a disgraced private investigator whose phone records showed direct communication with the business of my father. Evelyn sent a chilling voicemail offering to take Leo until things settled down, warning me that a judge would care about stability. I forwarded the message to the police, but the situation escalated when Brooke revealed that my parents had officially filed the emergency petition. They lied to the court, claiming Garrett and I had vanished during a violent domestic crisis and left Leo abandoned. The court scheduled an emergency hearing for the very next afternoon, and my parents arrived looking impeccably dressed and entirely Their attorney painted them as saintly grandparents who were merely acting out of deep love and concern for a troubled daughter. However, Brooke presented the uncropped surveillance photos showing Garrett standing just a few feet away from Leo in the original frames. The judge demanded to know why the evidence was altered, causing Evelyn to lose her composure and shout that a mother does what is necessary. That explosive outburst completely destroyed her carefully crafted facade in front of the entire courtroom. The judge immediately denied their custody petition, issued a strict restraining order, and forwarded the forged documents to the Fraud Division for criminal review. Outside the courtroom, Donald cornered us and venomously warned that we had no idea what we had just started. I stood my ground, telling him to let the world see the evidence as Detective Boyd approached to bring them in for questioning. As the elevator doors closed on their defeated faces, Evelyn sent a mass text message to our entire family claiming I had experienced a severe mental breakdown. In her frantic haste, Evelyn accidentally attached the wrong file to the group text, sending a photograph of her kitchen captured from her illegal hidden camera. The definitive proof of her spying was instantly broadcast to everyone she wanted to influence, completely shattering her lies forever. Standing in that parking garage, I finally felt the heavy chains of my childhood break, knowing they could never rewrite my life again.